All right, guys. So it's playoff time, right? And unfortunately, the Raptors dropped game one at home to the Magic, which was a stunner. It surprised me, surprised a lot of people because Magic are in seventh, and you don't like. I didn't expect them to win. Like I thought it would go to game five, as I said, but I didn't expect them to win this early because, as I said last episode, I expected it to go Toronto Raptors win three straight, then Orlando win, and then Toronto finish off the series, right? But hey, they changed. They shocked me, especially me, because I didn't think that would happen. I didn't think they'd win. They'd win at their first game at home. But I mean, home advantage obviously shouldn't be wasted, and it's an advantage because it's in the home advantage. It's in the name, home advantage, right? So you shouldn't be wasting that. And then, especially when you're with your home crowd and they have like the whole stadium behind you and they're making the noise, cheering you on. Like it really pumps up the players. And obviously when you go away, it's much harder because not like obviously there's fans that go to the game in Orlando. Like don't get me wrong, it's not only Magic fans. There are quite a bit Raptors fan, but it's not much compared to the Orlando fans, right? So when you get home advantage, you get the majority or 95% of the crowd cheering for you guys or with you and stuff like that. It really helps. But if you can win away, that's pretty good too. Obviously, it's a mental game as well as a physical game. And just like all sports, as we talked about in the last episode about boxing, so you guys missed that, you guys want to check that out. But especially like even basketball is mental as much as physical because once anybody on the other team or the fans or anything in general gets into your head, that can really, really, really throw your game off completely, throw everything out the window, and you're just gonna play terrible. But if you have like that mental strength and the tough skin, you don't let anything like that get to you, then you'll do fine. But like as the Raptors did, they won in Orlando, so I mean they got the mental part right, and then they have like the players they have are pretty good. Like Kawhi Leonard, who is just traded. Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green were traded to come to Toronto for DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl. So Kawhi and Danny Green are like obviously we do need them because they know what it's like to get to the finals. They know what it's like to win the finals. They have a ring, right? They have that experience that Toronto does lack because Toronto has never been to a finals. We've only gotten to a conference finals. And I'm not saying it's DeMar or Jakob Poeltl's fault because it could be Dwayne Casey's fault. It could be anyone's fault, really, because we got rid of DeMar and Jakob Poeltl, and then we fired Dwayne Casey, who now plays for the Pistons, who's now out, who got eliminated. It's got swept 4-0 by Milwaukee. All right, so there could be numerous factors why we couldn't get past LeBron James because they swept us. Like of the 3 years we faced them in the conference finals, they swept. I think they swept us twice. So that's like I don't know. Is it just LeBron? Is it I don't know. We just can't beat Cleveland. But like now with LeBron out of the East, and then Cleveland, they suck. There's just no other way to put it. They suck. I think they're doing better than the Knicks, but hey, they're still from what they were last season till now. They're terrible, right? So it could be multiple factors. But what I'm saying right now, Kawhi Leonard is turning it. He's ramping it up during the like he was doing well in the regular season. Obviously, he didn't play much. He didn't play. Okay, he played a lot. He played the majority of the games for us, but he didn't play all the games. Why? Because last season he only played 9 games. He had I think it was his right quad. He had an injury and it kept them sidelined for a long time. And when you have a guy who just played 9 games come in your team, you especially on the caliber of Kawhi Leonard, you really do not want to risk it and have him get injured. So like it makes sense that they rest him. I wasn't complaining about that, but before the playoff season, hopefully I don't remember which episode this was, but I said it in the past episodes, wondering if they would do the same thing, which obviously I didn't want him to do, and it wouldn't make sense because you gotta have one of your best players playing during playoffs, but he is, and he is doing amazing for us. He's working wonders for us. So, like Toronto Raptors, as of right now, time of recording, they are up 3-1 against Orlando, and Game 5 is this evening, and it's taking place at the Scotiabank Arena home. And obviously, history will tell you that the Raptors have a hard time starting series and finishing series, which are probably two of the most important points in the series for any team. Got to start off strong, you got to finish strong, right? But as I said, with the home crowd behind them, I think they'd be able to get it done. I know my prediction would be correct. Obviously, not in the same sequence as I said, but hey, all that matters is that the amount of games were played was correct, which would be 5 games. So I do think they have a high chance of closing the series. But if they win, I'm not saying they're going to, because you never know, but I think they will. So if they do win, that will lead them to face most likely the 76ers, who are also up 3-1 against the Brooklyn Nets, who I think will close the series as well. Which I think that'd be a pretty good, intense game, because you have Kawhi, Lowry, and Pascal Siakam. And then on the other side, they have like a lot of good players in Joel, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and JJ Redick is not bad either. So 76ers versus Toronto is probably going to happen. And if they do win that series too, they'd end up facing either the Bucks or the Celtics. You know that before the playoffs, the Celtics were having some struggles, right? But man, they have fixed those struggles, and they're looking like a very, very great team. They're looking legit right now. They fixed the issues at the most crucial time, which is obviously good. But the Bucks and the Celtics, that'd be a pretty good matchup. And if the Raptors beat the 76ers, then they'd go to the conference finals, where they face Bucks or Celtics, which would also be pretty good, because both teams are very hard to beat, especially like with the Greek Freak doing what the Greek Freak does. He is making a statement on why he should be the MVP, right? So, and then you have the Celtics with Kyrie is doing. Gordon Hayward is doing well now, because like regular season he wasn't doing that well, but he's playing a lot better. And then you have Jason Tatum, who's really well, a young star. So both teams have a lot of firepower, but that the Raptors would have to, show why they're one of the best as well, because they have good players. Both teams have, Celtics and the Bucks have really good players. And, if you like keep up with other teams, the Celtics just swept the Pacers, who honestly, in my opinion, weren't bad at all. And then the Bucks swept the Pistons. And if the Raptors face them, it's going to be a pretty close game. But for the Raptors, the 3 keys to win any series are Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, and Kyle Lowry. If those three manage to play like really well, then I think they'd be an unstoppable force. Because if they all 3 of them have really good games, like they can get pretty far. Obviously, if they do get to the finals, I'm not gonna say they are, because you don't know. And obviously, in the West, Golden State is favored to get to the finals, obviously, because Golden State's Golden State. So this is just like, I guess a fantasy matchup in the finals, Golden State versus the Raptors. So you have, as I said, Siakam, Lowry, and Kawhi, and then they have Warriors have Steph, KD, and Clay, which all have one big, like, I don't know what you'd call it, a big advantage. I don't know if it would be called. No, I wouldn't say an advantage, because Raptors can shoot as well, but they're really, really good shooters from deep, especially Curry and Klay Thompson. Those guys are machines from deep, and that would be a pretty good game. I think that game could go to Game 7, maybe Game 6 or Game 7. I still think Toronto will have what it takes to beat them, and I'd be like the first time they win a title. That'd be great. If that was to happen for the Raptors, that'd be this city would go crazy. But anyways, Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs, right? Like he's averaging 28 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game. And you also got to keep in mind that his points per game is higher than Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is only in playoffs. It's higher than the Greek Freak, Stephen Curry, and DeMar DeRozan. Not trying to throw shade at any of those guys, especially DeMar DeRozan. I would not throw shade to him. And then you have Siakam, who ranks 15th in points per game in the playoffs with 22.3 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game, which is a massive change compared to last season, where his best stat line came against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was 11 points, 8 rebounds, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. That's why, I think he's the most well-equipped to win most improved player of the year, because I don't think, obviously D'Angelo Russell has improved, but I do not think he has improved as much as Pascal Siakam. And next year, I do think he'll be a candidate for the All-Star game. Mark my words, he will be a candidate. I mean, I think he should have went to the All-Star game this season, at least the Rising Stars game, because some players that made it, again, not trying to throw shade at anybody, but like some people that played that game, I 100% believe that, Siakam's better. And the man is only 24, and he started playing back. He played 7 years of organized basketball, only 7 years. Most players that made the NBA have been playing basketball their entire life. And Siakam started playing basketball at like 17. And before that, he played soccer, right? And you know what? Honestly, I'm glad he made that switch, even if it was like later than a lot of the NBA players that you see right now. Because as I said, most of them play their entire lives. But Siakam, for someone who started playing only 7 years of organized basketball, that is pretty crazy what he is doing right now, even compared to last season. But Kyle Lowry, so he averages 10.8 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 8.5 assists per game. And like obviously during the season, Kyle Lowry has had shooting troubles, right? Difficulty in making the shots. But like at the same time, it does average like 10.8 points. I mean, it's not great. I'll be honest with you. 8.5 assists per game. That's pretty good. Not gonna lie, that is not terrible. That's pretty good, right? But like the 10.8 points per game is not that good. But you also have to remember Kyle Lowry does a lot of things that do not show up on the box score, which for especially taking charges, he's really good at taking charges and sending the ball the other way or getting the possession, right? Takes charges against a lot of the players, which I mean, sometimes I wonder what goes through his head, because some of those guys, like the NBA, they have some big guys, and some of them, I don't know if I would rather be taking. I don't know if I'd be taking charges from some of them. Like, for example, Joel Embiid. That would be pretty. I don't know if I would be able to take a charge from him, because he's like 7 feet tall. He's a pretty big guy. So Kyle Lowry, even though he doesn't like his points per game isn't that high, he still does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up on the box score. And that game where he went 0 for 7, as I said in the last, I don't know, okay, not the last episode, but previous episodes, even though his shooting was terrible, he still plays basketball the right way, like he said. Because some players, not gonna name any names, but if you guys know basketball, you can probably name one person who definitely would do the opposite of stop shooting the ball when they're cold. So he stopped shooting the ball, which is smart, because you shouldn't be throwing up shots that shouldn't be thrown up, right? And you know who does the opposite of that? If you're familiar with basketball, first name starts with the R, but I ain't gonna. You guys can figure that out. So those three are doing pretty well, right? And Kawhi Leonard, like as I said, he's doing amazing. He's doing well offensive end and doing amazing on the defensive end as well. And he's very capable of taking over both games, or taking over all the games. And that's why we traded him, because we needed that. Traded him for DeMar. Traded him to get Danny Green and Kawhi, because I think especially their experience, is gonna benefit us a lot because we do not have that experience with going to the finals and stuff. And then we have Patrick McCaw, who played with Golden State. And I think he has 2 rings, so he has experience as well as Kawhi and Danny Green. So I mean, we're doing well right now, and right now, like my opinion, 100%, I think that Kawhi Leonard. You know what? Not even my opinion. Forget the opinion part. Kawhi Leonard is the best two-way player in the NBA. If you guys think he's not, if you think anyone else is better, you let me know. I think he's won Defensive Player of the Year, right? And he's been to the All-Star game, and as I said, he's a champion, right? So I mean, he's really well, does really well on defense as well as offense. That's why I think he's the best. If that's arguable for you guys, and you think someone else is better than him, uh, I think you're wrong. I think he is the best. Sorry to put it like that, but yeah, I think Kawhi is the best player, two-way player in the NBA. So tonight, they have Game 5, which, as I said, due to history will show you that Raptors have a hard time closing series, but I don't think they'll have a hard time closing this series, just because you got the home crowd behind you, you got new players, McCaw, Kawhi, Danny Green, and Pascal Siakam stepping up compared to last season. So I think this Raptors team are very much capable of going all the way. Obviously, if they get to the finals, that'd be pretty hard to go win a ring as well. But I think they are very capable, and I will be right back.